Ever since the round walls update came out, we've been joking around a lot about making a circle shell challenge, and I did it. Firstly, I want to apologize for putting you through this, but basically the idea of this challenge is that I made this box, or I guess box is the wrong word. I made this circle, and I put it up on the gallery, and you are meant to download it and turn it into something without changing any of the existing walls. Usually these shells have a lot more going on. Like I'll build a really weird box. That looks kind of like a unicorn. And then I'll put that on the gallery, and then you'll have to try and make that into a house. So you might think initially this one's not gonna be so bad, but honestly, I think the simplicity of this is what made it so difficult for me. That, of course, and then the roof. The roof was also very difficult for me. But if you want to try this one, I put it on the gallery, and I also put a couple of rules, so you can download it there, and then once you're done, upload it to hashtag, oh no, okay. Upload it to hashtag Simsie circle shell, and then we can tour them all and see everybody else's builds. People have done a lot of really interesting things with this one. I mean, I'm already seeing a mushroom, which is kind of a fun idea. So couple rule breakdowns. With these shell challenges, you are not allowed to add exterior walls. So you couldn't like add a wall like this. You wouldn't be allowed to change one of the walls into a fence. Essentially, the whole point is that the shell has to remain the same, but you can obviously add anything you want inside, and pretty much anything outside except for walls is fair game. So if you wanted to make a fence and fence in the backyard, that's totally fine. If you want to add windows, landscaping, platforms, foundations, literally anything goes. You just aren't really meant to add walls on the exterior. Although for this shell challenge, because it's just a circle, I'm allowing people to duplicate it and make it taller. So you're allowed to add like a second, third floor if for some reason you desire to do a cylinder instead. I guess technically you could probably do it in the basement too, but the problem with the basement is that you can't have round walls in the basement, so it just straightens them for you, and that's not as fun. But long story short, the rules are pretty simple. You take the circle, you make it into something. And now I want to show you what I did with my circle. You know, the more that I think about this, I'm really starting to question why I have done this to myself and also to you. Like, it's my birthday. My birthday is tomorrow. How could I ruin a holiday weekend with a show like this? I'm kidding. I'm sorry. It's not actually that bad. I think that honestly, my build came together a lot better than I expected it would. I had a couple of ideas that I was kind of trying to talk myself through in my head. The first idea was to do like a restaurant, and in that concept, I was gonna do a platform as the roof, and it was gonna be like a big straight rectangle platform with like essentially an overhang. And so it was kind of like the easy way out in my mind, just to do a platform roof and have it be flat, because that's a little bit too simple. And so I was like, you know what? No easy way out, no restaurants, no platform roofs. You have to build a cottage. And so I made myself do this like sort of rounded cottage instead. And it took a lot of roof pieces to make work. But honestly, in the end, I think it turned out really cool. It kind of has like Hobbit house vibes a little bit. So basically, to do this roof, I used a bunch of different round roof pieces, like those circle bits, and I put 4 of them, and then I used a bunch of straight half gabled roofs to like connect them in between, and then I put a roof on top of all of that, and then I used like some dormers and things to try and make it look a little bit more interesting. My Twitch chat was very amused by how it looked when I had first placed those like basically ice cream cone like 4 pieces, but you know, once we got all the roofs in place, I think it looks okay. If I were to be doing this not for a shell challenge, I would actually probably put a room up there on that second floor, like in between all of the cones. You can kind of see it right now where the roof is sort of sunken in. I think I'd probably put like a square room up there, and then maybe have some actual dormers with walls, because it's not a very big space, but it is like a reasonable size, and you could probably have like a little like reading nook or something up there. But obviously for a shell challenge, no additional walls. That's the whole point. So I didn't do it, and I just kind of like hit it. Don't look at the roof. The roof is very scary from the inside. It looks okay from the outside, but it is kind of clippy, I guess, which is a little bit weird. And oh my god, the windows are also kind of clippy, which is also a little bit weird. I didn't really think this part through when it came to the window situation on this building, and I don't know why or how it like slipped my mind, because the windows and doors are arguably the worst part of doing like a rounded build in The Sims, because not all of the windows fit on round walls. And so it was very annoying trying to figure it out. I noticed that a lot of the 2 tile wide windows, which obviously wouldn't fit on the curve, I get it, but a lot of the 2 tile wide windows literally just left a gaping hole when I tried to place them, which was really, really odd. It might honestly be kind of interesting to like experiment with using a gaping hole instead of a window, but I didn't do that. I ended up using the like regular little 1 tile tiny windows from Cottage Living. And then at the urge of my chat, I decided to stack them, which I'm still not sure if looks okay or not. I don't know if it's weird, but it started growing on me, the like little stacked look of them, and so I kept it. And I think it's okay. We've got like 4 sections of those, like 1 in each bedroom and then 2 in the living kitchen space. The house itself is kind of split up into like 4 corners, basically. The back 2 corners are the 2 bedrooms. One's a bit smaller, another one is like the bigger primary suite. And then the front 2 corners are like the kitchen, dining area, and the living room. I did also fit in a bathroom, believe it or not. I managed to make it work. And it's also got like a little hallway. It's a very cozy interior. I think I was really impressed with how this area sort of laid itself out. I had very low expectations for this build. I think that's probably why I like it so much, because I came into this thinking it was going to be a disaster. And so when it turned out decent, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Also, don't worry, I did playtest this house, so everything is functional, luckily. The kitchen works, the dining space works. The living room is really, really small, but it also works. I really wanted it to feel very like warm and cozy inside. And so in the living room, I put a big fireplace. There is not a TV, I don't think, although maybe there is. I don't remember. If I did put a TV, it's a big flat screen. And if I didn't put a TV, then there's just nothing. But I'm not really certain. Either way, there's a little couch, a big fireplace, there's a bookshelf. Like, I really managed to fit in a lot in a very small area. And I will say also, I struggled the most with the bedroom furnishings. I don't know what it was, but the kids' room especially, I think was the hardest part for me. And part of it was that I was trying to use a lot of the new furniture, like from the high school pack, and just a lot of the swatches weren't really fitting with this like kind of cottagey vibe that we've gone for, so I was kind of struggling there. But also, the majority of the walls in a very small room were curved, and so it was really tough trying to find like, where should the bed go? Can I even fit a desk? Like, because to an extent, you can't really put much furniture on that curve of the wall. It's fine when it's like, oh, a big couch leaning up against a curve, but when it's like a single bed, you can't really lean the single bed up against the curve because it looks weird. Like, it was very hard to figure out what would fit in the bedroom, so that was definitely a struggle for me. I am so curious to see what all of you decide to do with this shell. I mean, that's always the best part of the shell challenges, is seeing what everyone else comes up with, but I think because this one is like so vague and also so annoying, I'm really curious to see what you all do, because I struggled a lot with mine. Although impressively, this one was a 0 bulldoze build. I should start classing my builds that way. Like, how many times did I bulldoze the lot before I got what I actually wanted it to look like? This time was a 0 bulldoze build. And that is a good thing. Because sometimes with shells especially, I'll bulldoze them like 4 times before I find out what I want to do. I won't usually get very far into the build, but I'll like start, I'll work on the roof, and then be like, no, this is ugly, scrap it, and then I'll bulldoze it and try again. I've also gotten like an hour and a half, 2 hours into like mansion builds before, and then just totally given up. And it's not so much like given up because I'm still trying to build it. It's like, I know that I want to build this mansion. I know I want it to look kind of like, you know, this, whatever I have in my head, but sometimes it's just not working and you need a little fresh start. And so I definitely tend to just like bulldoze my lots and try again from scratch when I've got like a very specific idea in mind. Or I guess in the shell challenges case, it's when I've got no specific idea in mind and I'm trying out like 4 different things to see what works with the shell. But this time it was a first shot kind of thing and it worked. I'll also say that I didn't really experience a lot of glitches with the curved walls in this one. I've noticed a lot of that in my other curved room builds where you've got like issues with placing objects. The camera jumps around. I've got issues with like trying to pick up objects after placing them. In this one, I didn't have any of that, but what I did have, and you might have just seen it, is when I was trying to put columns by the entryway, for some reason, when I would place the columns inside of the rounded room, the swatch would go like super dark. There's a lot of weird lighting bugs in The Sims 4 where like you try and put a swatch on something and then the swatch will have like outdoor lighting, but it's indoors. Like, for example, there's a couple like wall hanging plants from Get Together that still to this day, like many years later, have like bugged lighting where you try and put it inside and it looks weird. And so those columns that I was trying to put there by the entry kept doing that. I kept having the weird lighting bug. But then I noticed that when I rotated them, it was fine, but then it would come back. So I'd rotate them again and then it would be fine again. It was really weird. And I guess one other like small weird thing about this is that any wallpapers that have a pattern on them get very stretched on curved rooms. And that's not so much an issue like a curved wall bug. That's kind of just like how it works. The same thing happens on diagonal walls even, because obviously the diagonal wall is a little bit wider than like the default 1 tile, and the curved wall is a lot wider than the default 1 tile. And so like 1 tile of a curve or 1 tile of a diagonal is bigger. So when you put a pattern on it, that pattern stretches to fill that bigger tile. And so the patterns look a bit weird on the curves sometimes. So I tried to to avoid using patterns on the curved spaces. I did use a patterned wall in the kids' bedroom, but it's like a very subtle, like kind of almost faded looking floral, so it's not super obvious. But I tried to use some of the cottage living ones, like the more bold patterns, and they looked really silly because they were like stretched out so wide. Honestly, just in general, this room looks a bit silly. I really did have a hard time trying to figure out how to furnish it. I went back and forth so much. Looking back on this, I'm like getting sad just thinking about it. I'm pretty sure I even cut it out of the speed build because I did the room, gave up, and then at the very end came back and redid it, and I left the redo out because I was like, I'll just show them in the tour. They don't need to see it in the speed build. You don't need to see my indecisiveness this much in the speed build. Although I do think it helps, like if any of you are planning on doing the shell challenge, we all struggle with these, okay? I made the thing and I struggled so much with it. And you know what? Speaking of shell challenges, I do a bunch of these on my channel. They're just really fun because it's kind of like a cool community building thing where we can all do like sort of the same build, except maybe mine's a cottage and yours is a museum and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's pretty fun to see everybody's creativity with these sorts of things. And I've done a bunch. So if you want to watch any of the past ones, I literally posted a tour video like a week and a half ago. I'll link that down below for you. That one was super fun. There was a lot of really cool builds in that tour. I love that part about it. I think it's so fun to like, one, do the challenge, but then two, see how you all did the challenge, because most of the time they're better than mine. And it makes for a really fun time to get to scroll through the hashtag and see everybody's. Although I'm warning you all in advance, I did build this on stream, and so my stream chat and I were, a lot of us doing it like real time together. And over the past couple of days since I built this on stream, and since I like did the shell challenge for the first time on stream, a lot of people have been coming in and being like, curse you, Kayla, how could you do this to me? And so I guess I warn you in advance, I'm not here to try and cause suffering, okay? I just want you to have fun, and I'm here to inspire you, and if you so desire to do one of these with us, I don't mean to hurt you. That is never my goal, I promise. I'm really sorry if what I have done is evil. I mean, it was evil to me as well. In fact, I ruined my own birthday with this shell challenge. And you know what? Speaking of my birthday, I don't have any plans. I don't really know what I want to do. Part of me kind of just wants to like sit at home and do nothing. Like, to me, that seems like a lot of fun. But I'll probably stream on my birthday, so I'll link my Twitch channel down below if you want to come by and say hi. Oh, you know what else I want to do? I want to bake a cake. I really like baking, but I don't want to have to clean it up. So maybe that's my birthday, is that I'm gonna bake a cake and then get other people to wash the dishes for it. I think that sounds like fun. Maybe I'll do that. There's also a little vegan restaurant in Orlando that I love, but I don't usually go out to it too much because it's kind of far away and I don't really feel like driving all the way out there. But maybe I'll get my parents to go pick up takeout from my favorite restaurant. See, that'll be fun. I think I'll probably just do that kind of thing. I'm just gonna hang out around home. I don't have any like big time plans. I'm curious to hear in the comments what all of you did for your birthday this year. I mean, look, I'm very much a sit at home kind of girly, so if you did that, I would love to hear about it. What did you do at home to make it seem like fun? I actually might have to work a little bit on my birthday. If I'm smart enough and I get my pre-recording done, I won't have to. But Dan's brother is getting married on the 19th and my birthday is the 14th, and then we're going to the UK like the day after my birthday to go like stay there before the wedding. So I have a lot of videos to make. Hence why I'm recording this one like a week in advance, because I'm trying to get a little bit ahead. But wish me luck. There's my little life update, and we're kind of almost done with the build here. I finished the whole interior and now we're gonna work on the outside a little bit. I did a lot of landscaping on this one. I was kind of trying to go for that like little hobbit house cottage sort of vibe, so I wanted it to be like lots of flowers, little mushrooms. I put a pond, there's a farm and a swing set. Like, I really wanted it to be very cozy and very like gardeny on the outside, basically. Cottage living has the greatest debug landscaping of all time. I am so sad that this cottage living landscaping isn't like actual landscaping in build mode, because for example, those little mushrooms are the greatest things they have ever made. I think those little tiny mushroom clusters are some of the best landscaping options we have ever gotten in The Sims 4, and you have to use 2 cheats to access them. You need to type in bb.show hidden objects and then bb.show live edit objects, and then scroll through a nightmare long list of things just to get to the mushrooms. But they're so cute. They're so cute, and they work so well, especially for a build like this. I think they just fit in so perfectly here. I think cottage living is probably one of my like all-time favorite expansion packs for The Sims 4, just because so many of the things in it are so adorable. Like, the build is so cute, the gameplay is cute, it came with chickens. Like, what more could you ask for, really? I guess horses, maybe, but I'm sorry, I shouldn't bring it up. Horses to me are the probably single most unlikely thing to ever come to The Sims 4. I'm dead serious. And I don't mean like, oh, I hate horses, I don't want to see them added, because honestly, horses in The Sims 3 were really fun. They were like actually really good gameplay involved with horses in The Sims 3, but I just cannot imagine horses coming to The Sims 4. To me, I just can't picture a world in which horses in The Sims 4 exist. Especially now that we've had like so many packs that maybe would have been appropriate. Like, I understand the choice to not include them in like cats and dogs and also in cottage living, because believe it or not, horses are famously like extremely difficult to make. It's like a common joke amongst like modelers and stuff that building and making horses is like one of the hardest things you can do. So I totally understand them not existing in this game, but like now that we've gotten 2 packs where they could have come, I just don't see a world where horses kind of make sense in The Sims 4 anymore, you know? I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on that in the comments. I probably shouldn't even like poke the beast with horses, but I would love them. I would think it's super fun, to be honest. I find it very unlikely to happen. But with that, the build is pretty much done, so I want to pop back into the game and give you a quick tour. First, to remind you, this is what we started with. This is the original shell that all of us have been cursed to try and turn into something. I ended up building mine up here, like way in the back of Henford-on-Bagley, and this is what it ended up looking like when I was completely finished. Now, you can see on the outside, I tried to really blend it into the environment. There's a lot of landscaping. There's this adorable farm area. I even planted crops in it before I put it on the gallery. I love this little pond right here. It's got ducks. We used an adorable swing set. There's mushrooms everywhere. And then when you actually come inside the house, over here, you walk straight into like a little brick sort of entryway. To the left, we've got my little tiny living room, which is so cute. I am so happy with this like space. I just think it's so cozy in here. And then the other side's got a little tiny dining table and also the kitchen, which also turned out pretty cute, dare I say. I snuck this little desk right here in the hallway. I really was trying to make use of like all of the available space here because the house is so small. And if you come past that, there's a little tiny bathroom right here. And then we've got the 2 bedrooms. Now, this bedroom, as you can see, changed a lot from what I showed you in the speed builds, but I think this looks better. I think this makes more sense. Kind of a cute little cozy kids room. And then the parents' room is right next door, and it's also kind of cute and cozy. I love the quilt shapes on this bed splotch. That is one of my favorite beds in the game. I think it's so good. And I kind of want to show you better how I did the roof on this really quick. So you can see I put a couple of the like actual dormer items from cottage living on here. Those are just like accessories. Same with these chimneys. Kind of same vibe. The roof is really weird and clippy sometimes, which we can't really avoid, but the actual roof itself is 4 of these round pieces kind of on like every corner. And then I took some of these half gabled roofs and I put them in between to like kind of cover how bumpy it was, basically. And then at the very end, I put a single roof piece up here at the very top. In order to do that, I had to put like a wall there, like put a room there, so I could get a grid and then put the roof on top of the grid. And then I just deleted the wall when I was done. And again, it's kind of clippy, but I think it turned out okay. I also think that putting this roof piece right here really helped to break up just like the big mound of thatched roof. So that was pretty nice. I think if I were to build this and it not be a shell challenge, there's a lot that I would have changed, but given what I was forced to work with for the shell, I think it turned out pretty good. I am so excited to see what you build for this. I literally cannot wait to see what you come up with. So if you want to check it out, it's #SimsieCircleShell on the gallery. Honestly, take a scroll through that right now and see how many cool builds are already uploaded, because there's a lot of really good ones. And with that being said, I'm gonna stop rambling at you and I'm gonna end the video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have the best rest of your day, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Speaking of tomorrow, tomorrow is my birthday. I'm just saying, just a small reminder, everybody, my birthday is tomorrow. Let's not forget, August 14th, my birthday.